I have the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker for the day. Our speaker graduated from Lafayette High School and left for Marine Boot Camp 3 days later. While in the Marines, she graduated from Radio Operator School in 29 Palms, California, and then was stationed in Okinawa, Japan. On the island of Okinawa, she became the first female marksmanship instructor and the first female forward observer. While in Okinawa, she met and eloped to Guam with her husband, who was also a Marine. They have now been married for almost 24 years and have 3 wonderful children. She has worked at Farristown since the day it opened, and any student who has ever had an in-school suspension will never forget her. Since starting at Farristown, she has worked hard to receive her bachelor's in psychology from Liberty University and will graduate with her master's in professional counseling at the end of the year. At this time, I'm sure you have all figured out that our guest speaker is none other than that of our own Miss Stephanie Carson.
Good morning. My story begins in middle school, not much older than a lot of you today. In 8th grade, I can remember watching on TV the invasion of Iraq. And at that moment, something flipped in me like a switch. In that moment, I fell in love with the military. I was in awe of their sacrifice and wondering what they had left behind to do what they were doing. Fast forward to high school, my life had changed dramatically by the time I was a senior. I had essentially been abandoned by both of my parents, left to do everything for myself. Although this made me independent, it also left me feeling unloved and unwanted. I felt invisible to the world, and the thought of going to college made me cringe. I had bigger worries and bigger things on my mind, and that situation left me feeling hopeless. Who I was and who I wanted to be on the inside was not who everyone else saw on the outside. Believe it or not, I was very quiet in high school. I was very shy. I wouldn't order my own food at McDonald's. I wouldn't buy my own tickets at the movie theater. However, I knew God had a bigger plan for me. It was through joining the Marine Corps that I found the courage to be who I knew I could be. I graduated from high school on a Friday and was in boot camp 3 days later. Keep in mind that at the time, only 3% of the Marine Corps was female. So everyone I knew thought that I was crazy. They were staying home and going to college or starting a new job. I was ready to be someone else. I was ready to grow, and I knew that if I could make it through Marine Corps boot camp, that I could make it through anything else that life threw at me. While in boot camp in Parris Island, South Carolina, I was one of only 3 females in my series who shot expert at the rifle range. That's the highest level of shooting in the Corps. This was a big deal to me because I had never actually shot. This just added to the confidence that I was gaining and learning to push myself through limits that my mind and body had set for me. Next, I went to 29 Palms, California, in the middle of the desert. This place was deemed uninhabitable by the U.S. Army decades earlier, so that tells you how bad it was. Here I learned to become a radio operator. After California, I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan. While in Okinawa, because of my expert shooting, I was given the opportunity to become a marksmanship instructor, the first female marksmanship instructor to go through that school in Okinawa. I was assigned the job of helping every Marine in my battalion re-qualify on the rifle range that year. Also in Okinawa, I was given the opportunity to become the first female Marine to go through Forward Observer School. This gave me the job skill of calling for weapons fired from ships, tanks, and planes. As Jonah stated, it was during this year that I met a fellow jarhead and eloped to Guam 2 months after we met. Needless to say, I came back to America a very different person. Not only did the Marine Corps help me to feel like I belonged somewhere, taught me how to earn the respect of others through hard work, and gave me the opportunity to do amazing things and go to amazing places. The most important thing it did for me was force me to find the confidence to be assertive. I can't tell you how many times I heard the phrase, you're too pretty to be a Marine. I don't know if that was supposed to be a compliment or what. Or, where are you from, every time I opened my mouth and they heard my accent. People will always find a way to not take you seriously or to doubt you. The military shows you how to be intentional in every aspect of your life. When Farristown opened 9 years ago, I asked to be in charge of the Veterans Day program. After being so disappointed in the other programs that I had attended, I wanted a program that made veterans and active duty military feel appreciated and give them a time to reflect on their own experiences. This year's program is bittersweet since it will be my last one. In my years at Farristown, I have worked with and developed relationships with some of our most unlovable students simply by trying to be the person that I needed when I was their age. I am now finishing my master's degree to become a therapist. My wish is to work with veterans suffering from PTSD and war-related trauma. After having personal experience with loved ones returning from deployment, scarred and broken, and seeing the countless number of veterans and active duty members taking their own lives, I feel that I have found my calling to help the military community, and feel as though my experiences give me a unique perspective than most therapists that our military come in contact with. My journey has been long and winding, but I can finally see the bright light at the end of the tunnel. My closing words of advice for my students are, please remember the military is an option for your future. It can take all of the things that you see in yourself and others see in you as weaknesses, and it can teach you how to make those your strengths. And to never give up on yourself or who you want to be. Even as a grown-up, I have had friends leave. But if you can find your inner strength, your life can be full of fulfillment. Thank you.
But for all of these years, Ms. Carson has been here, and I have been part of the school. I left briefly as the Gear Up coordinator, but we have developed a great friendship, as she has with most people in our building, but we wanted to recognize her today because, as you can see, it's our duty and job here to raise up students who eventually will go to high school and then decide to do something beyond and spread their wings a little bit. But every now and then, that happens to our adults in our building, and that's happened to Ms. Carson. She's getting her master's degree, and she's going to fly away from us. So we wanted to recognize her today, so everybody, we've got a plaque for her. Also, in closing, we'd just like to thank our students who've been part of the program today and our band. They have been incredible, both our presenters and the band. If you would give them